All right, welcome to Rocky Mountain Cancer Center's Oncology Watch. Today we are going to be talking with two of our social workers about talking with your children about your cancer diagnosis. First, we have Lindsay. She's one of our social workers from the Midtown Clinic. She's been part of the RMCC team for 11 years. She recognizes the unique challenges parents face when having cancer in the context of parenting. And we also have Ashlyn with us today. She is from our Lakewood Clinic, and she joined our supportive care team about 9 months ago. And she comes from a background of working with children and family. So thank you so much, ladies, for being with us today, and we look forward to your talk.
Thank you.
So I'm going to turn it over to the social workers now.
Great. Well, thank you, Melissa, and thanks to everyone who decided to join us today. Our goal is to provide you with a brief introduction to our hour-long psychoeducational group called What Do I Tell My Kids? We offer this group throughout the year in collaboration with Cancer Support Community. We hope by the end of this brief introduction that you will have some additional tools when talking with your children or grandchildren about cancer. We will also provide you with additional information about our upcoming groups and how you can register if you're interested. For some of you watching, you might be contemplating whether or not to inform your child about a cancer diagnosis. Due to the gravity of this question, we thought we would start by addressing why it's important to communicate with your children about cancer. Many of the topics we discussed today is not a one-size-fits-all. And with you being the expert of your children, it might influence how and when you talk with them. With that being said, many of the topics that we do discuss can serve as a starting point and a foundation as you navigate this time with your children. The first thing I want to start out with is that children are intuitive. Kids overhear many of our conversations and are able to pick up on things that we might not think they hear or understand. I don't know about you, but I'm often surprised at how intuitive children are, even when they might not know exactly what is going on. They are able to feel when something is off. One of the ways to build a trusting relationship with your child is for them to be told about your cancer diagnosis through you versus overhearing it from someone else. Recognizing and reminding ourselves that children are intuitive allows adults the opportunity to model healthy communication and provide a safe space for children to talk about what they are feeling instead of thinking they need to hide their emotions or should stay silent about a cancer diagnosis. And that will bring us to building trust can reduce anxiety. So another reason of why it's important to tell your children about a cancer diagnosis is that oftentimes it can lessen the anxiety that a child may experience. They can trust they are being told what is happening and they are not left to their own imagination or stories, which might be worse than what is really going on. If their imagination or their stories are in line with your situation, it gives adults the opportunity to discuss their situation and be available for your children to process the information in their own way and with as much factual information as possible. When a parent models that it's okay to talk about cancer, a child is more likely to feel comfortable seeking out support. A trusting relationship with your child can establish a foundation for better coping strategies as they navigate a cancer diagnosis and other challenges in life. And then the third reason we want to talk about why it's important to tell my children about a cancer diagnosis is that it models that you are capable of coping with very hard things and that you as a parent believe that they are also capable of coping with hard things in the unfairness of life. It is a way to demonstrate that when hard things happen, it is okay to talk about it. We don't need to hide what is going on and how we are feeling. Kids can gain resiliency by witnessing how we, as adults, can experience sadness, anger, and many uncomfortable emotions and still have hope and the ability to move forward. And then the third reason why it could be important to tell children about your cancer diagnosis is it shows them, again, that we are capable of coping.
The next area we wanted to focus on is, where do I start? Remember that you know your child better than anyone, so being aware of developmental stages and unique needs will be second nature to you. Not everything needs to be covered at once. Conversations broken up over time can help with attention span and focus. Self-awareness is another helpful place to start. Self-awareness of your own fears and feelings about your own cancer diagnosis, along with the awareness of your child's ability to hear what you have to say in that moment. This next one is super important. It's okay to not have all the answers to your child's questions. Give yourself permission and remember, it's okay to not have all the answers and you're not expected to. You do not need to know everything before you have this conversation. Now we're going to move on to the possible questions that may come up. As mentioned before, you know your child best. These answers will depend on your child's developmental stage, temperament, and prior experience with cancer. One of the main questions could be, what is cancer? It's always good to start basic and expand out as needed. To begin simply, you could say, our body is built of cells. Sometimes there are unhealthy cells that grow, and these cells are called cancer.
Another possible question or questions that might come up are, how did you catch it? And will I catch cancer? One of the important things to emphasize to children is cancer is not contagious. It's not like a virus that you can spread to others or an illness that you can get from things like not washing your hands. Clarifying that cancer treatment might not make you feel better is also important. Many kids might be under the assumption that once you start taking medication, you will start feeling better like you do with many other illnesses. As we know, with cancer treatment, this is oftentimes not the case. You might feel worse when you start treating your cancer. Explaining that treatment goes after the good and bad cells is one way to tell them why you might be feeling worse. It also might address why your body might change and why you might start to look different because of things like losing your hair. It's also very important to use accurate terms like cancer, chemotherapy, and radiation to eliminate confusion for your child. Another significant piece of information to communicate is that they did not do anything to cause your cancer, and it is not their fault. Sometimes this could be an appropriate time to say, you don't know how you got your cancer. Letting them know that that's actually a really good question. And sometimes we don't have all the answers to why things happen. This is okay for you to say. And this is also okay for your children to hear. Another possible question that can come up is, will you be okay? Do people die from cancer? These are by far some of the toughest questions to answer. Oftentimes, these questions are accompanied with difficult emotions and not always a clear answer. Again, the way you answer this will depend on your situation, but there are some approaches you can think about using if these types of questions do come up. I'm going to encourage you to digest what I am about to say. When these kinds of questions come up, you can answer these questions with both honesty and hope. It doesn't have to be either or. You might say things like, People can die from cancer, but many people live with cancer. Or maybe respond along the lines of, people can die from cancer, but we are doing everything we can to treat it. And I am planning on treatment working. We will let you know if anything changes. And again, this type of response can model trust and assist with lessening some of your child's anxiety. Another approach would be asking your child what they think is going to happen. This could provide a better gauge and some clues for where they are at with their understanding. And then you can form a response according to their unique needs. An important piece of information to communicate when these type of questions come up is to tell your children that they will be taken care of no matter what. If you feel comfortable, you can work to identify people in their lives that will make sure that they are safe and that will be there for them.
How can I support my child? Keep routines. Doing your best to keep some normalcy in difficult times can help create an environment where your child can still participate in activities that they enjoy, along with the safety and predictability in structure and routine. The next, stick to the rules. This can be a tough one, but by doing so, you're creating a safe environment for kids and a feeling that they are in control. As Lindsay discussed earlier, sharing and communication is important to build trust and to engage in healthy ways to cope. Communicating openly can reduce anxiety and demonstrate that it is okay to ask questions and express concerns and worries to loved ones. Sharing and validating feelings is an opportunity to model ways to cope with uncomfortable feelings and difficult life circumstances. If you are seeing any changes such as eating habits, sleeping habits, or any behavior changes in your child, it could be time to seek some outside support. We have listed on the next slide some helpful resources for you and your children. Some of the topics listed are for parents and caregivers, online support for children, and literature. You will be able to click on the links and view and investigate some of those resources that we have listed here. If you don't see a resource that speaks to you or that feels would best suit your child, Lindsay will speak to some additional support options available to you and your family.
So finding ways to reach out to your support network can also be very helpful. Notifying your child's teacher, counselors, social workers, and coaches can also provide another layer of support for your child. People outside of your home might also notice behavioral changes in your children. So it's another good way to identify trusted adults, who can be there for your children and provide an outlet for them outside of your home. I also encourage you to reach out to your clinical social worker. We have provided a link to our supportive services page at Rocky Mountain Cancer Centers. In this link, you will find your clinic social worker, and you can seek out additional support if you're interested. And then finally, as we discussed at the beginning of our presentation, we have listed our upcoming psychoeducational groups. What do I tell the kids? These programs are an hour long, and we will go into more depth about what we discussed today and provide additional resources. And I think this brings us to the end of our presentation for today. I want to thank each of you for joining us, and we invite you to ask questions that maybe have come up.
Mute. Thank you. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this session of Oncology Watch. If you have any questions for our social workers, please feel free to leave them in the comments. If we don't see them pop up soon, we will get back to them shortly. Again, thank you to Lindsay and Ashlyn for all of your education and resources on this difficult topic. Thank you all and have a great day.